In February of 1957, the Fox Chase Woods on the edge of Philadelphia were a place of stark, frozen silence. The undergrowth was brittle, and the wind carried the bite of a winter that refused to break. Tucked just off a dirt path, half hidden by the brush, lay a discarded cardboard box that had once held a J.C. Penney bassinet. Inside, a young man looking for illegal muskrat traps stumbled upon a sight that would change the city forever: the remains of a small boy. The child appeared well cared for prior to his death. He was clean, and his fingernails were neatly trimmed. Curiously, his hair had been crudely shorn very close to the scalp, with small, fresh clippings still resting on his shoulders, as if the haircut had been performed moments before he was abandoned. He had been wrapped in a cheap, faded flannel blanket. Detectives concentrated on the specific pattern, a checkered weave of red, blue, green, and yellow, believing this mass-produced item might be the one piece of evidence a neighbor or a shopkeeper would recognize. The logic of the era was firm. A 4-year-old child cannot simply vanish into thin air. Detectives waited for the phone to ring, expecting a frantic report from a parent or a schoolteacher within 24 hours. But the days stretched into weeks. The local precinct remained quiet. No one called to report a missing son, a missing grandson, or even a missing student. The boy was there, physically present in the morgue, yet he remained a ghost to the world. This total absence of a paper trail transformed the case. The police were forced to pivot from a homicide investigation into a search for a basic existence, trying to account for a child who seemingly occupied no space in the official records of the city. Philadelphia responded with a mobilization that was historic in its intensity. To help the public visualize the victim, police dressed a boy in a typical 1950s outfit and distributed post-mortem photographs, attempting to capture his likeness as it would have appeared in life. This industrial printing press became the engine of the search. It churned out hundreds of thousands of flyers, pinned to every corkboard in the state, and mailed inside utility bills, ensuring the boy's face entered every home in Philadelphia. The saturation worked, bringing in thousands of leads. Investigators spent years vetting a nearby foster home and interrogating a woman known only as M, who claimed her mother had purchased the boy and raised him in a basement. However, mid-century policing was tethered to confessions and physical eyewitnesses. Without modern forensic science tools, detectives were unable to bridge the gap between these compelling stories and the physical evidence found in the woods. Ultimately, the scale of the search created its own obstacle. The sheer volume of public tips became a static-filled landscape, and the investigation stalled under the weight of thousands of possibilities they could neither prove nor fully dismiss. Years turned into decades. The men who first arrived at the Fox Chase Woods grew old, their notebooks yellowing as they reached the end of their careers without ever learning the boy's name. The connection had become deeply personal. These officers, who were strangers to the child in life, became his family in death, personally funding his funeral and purchasing a headstone so he wouldn't lie in a potter's field. Before retiring, detectives would participate in a grim tradition. They would hand the original case files to their successors, extracting a promise that the file would never be closed until the child was identified. The enduring power of the case was found here, in the quiet refusal of an entire city to let a nameless child be erased from memory. The resolution didn't come from a confession or a new witness, but from the arrival of genetic genealogy, a tool that allowed investigators to look back across 65 years of history. Forensic experts extracted viable DNA despite decades of degradation, creating a digital blueprint. This profile was compared against genealogical databases. Tracing genetic markers of living cousins, researchers built a bridge back to his immediate family. This completed DNA sequence map provided the final breakthrough. By following the genetic breadcrumbs, investigators finally identified the boy as Joseph Augustus Cerelli, restoring the identity that had been lost for nearly 7 decades. It is a heavy victory. While the mystery of his name is solved, the original detectives who swore to find the answer did not live to see the headstone changed. 70 years of human empathy preserved the evidence and protected the child's memory, keeping the search alive until advanced technology could finally provide his name. It is a testament to the idea that no one is ever truly forgotten, as long as someone is still looking.